nice little email from your coordinator, case manager, someone with just a reminder for workshop. In it, you'll find this packet. Let people in. So as you click it, it should open up for you, just like it opened up for me again for the second time. We're going to be doing some stuff in this packet. There's a lot of information in this packet, so I'm going to be referring it back and forth a little bit in between. Then, of course, in your email, you're also going to have a little activity that you can either type in, put in your Google Docs so that you can share it, send it back to your case managers. And you should have this UC 2021 Majors by Campus PDF. So the nice thing about this is that it starts off with majors and tells you what schools offer that major specifically for the UC system. So if you're actually any grade level, if you're thinking, this might be the school for me, maybe I don't know about this school, this is up to date as of August 2021. So you can see different types of majors and what they offer. So agricultural, natural resources, Berkeley has ecosystem management, environmental economics, genetics, and plant biology. You can see that Davis has a lot more options for like animal science, animal biology, aquatic animals, livestock, everything in between. You can see the options at Irvine, Cal State LA. Then you see architectural, environmental design, and planning. So you get to work out for any type of institution, what type of majors they have, how it kind of works. Not many schools have a lot of environmental engineering, things like that, art, creative studies, biological and life sciences, so genetics, plant biology, microbiology, who has nursing, who has film, who has business, everything in between you'll find. So business management, who offers that? Berkeley with their MET program, interdisciplinary with UC Davis. So it's all there just to help you, kind of understand a little bit, because we're going to be talking about majors today. So that's a little important to kind of understand what you want to study. Then the other resources, back to this email, is that you have some lovely links down below to help you out. The College Board is for the College Board Opportunity Scholarship. If you haven't heard us talk about it, you need to talk to your case manager. It's a great opportunity for, at any grade level, you can get potential raffles for $500 scholarships to up to $40,000 if you complete all 6 steps, and you literally just do it along as you go for it within your application. If not, talk to your case manager so that we can go a little bit more into detail with that, as well as we'll talk about it in Cash Hour / Power Hour. But this one's fun. So it's a little outdated, but a nice little handy little resource in there. So this is a Major Explorer. There used to be the website still exists, but a website called assist.org, which used to be able to tell you what schools offer your major and your interest, anything within the California region. So this school, Los Medanos College, like to recreate it. So you get to choose what kind of area you're interested in. So let's do something like, I want something like philosophy. Then you get to select what specifically you want to study. So let's do religious studies, why not? And it's going to tell you, oh my gosh, what schools offer what types of degrees, what types of degrees are connected to it. It's not 100% up to date, so do click on the school website to see if they're still offering it, because sometimes things change. But for the most part, the school should be able to continue to offer it. So it even tells you which schools. So this is Fresno State, San Francisco State University, San Bernardino, East Bay, Dominguez Hills, LA offers religion study. UC Davis offers religious studies, and just all the types of degrees. So it's a really handy tool if you're trying to figure out what schools maybe have what majors, what things you want to study. If you want to go to biological sciences, it gives you everything in between that you can choose from. You can even go to nursing. So what schools offer nursing? Oops. And then you see what schools. Again, check what school website for it to be 100% up to date. But you see nursing, you see Davis, nursing pre-licensure at Stanislaus, Channel Islands, accelerated nursing, all that fun stuff. So it's a nice little tool for you guys to kind of understand how it works. Then I have 2 more. So this one is more specific for the UC system. So it lets you check to see if your major is available. So you get to put in your major name. What's a fun one? what's a really fun major for me right now? Let's do computer science. Our applicant level, we're all coming in freshmen, all categories, all campuses we want to check, and we're doing for the fall semester. So we're going to search, and then down below, it shows you which schools are offering degrees and programs in computer sciences, data sciences, computer biology, and it's only for UC schools. So Merced, that's what they're offering. Again, very, very up to date. The school website, this is very open, what they're offering for that school. So a nice little resource.
What she's playing, dancing in
Hello, welcome. Hello, welcome. There you go. Hello. So that's a nice little fun one. And then last one, or last two. So if you ever wonder which CSUs you may think offer your major, which CSUs may offer something that you're interested in or passionate about, this is another little handy resource, CSU Search Degrees. So in it, you get to put what specific keywords you're interested in, what type of major. For this one, let's do business administration. That sounds like a fun one. You can either choose if a specific campus that you're looking at has that major, or of course you can keep it to all campuses. You can do search, and it tells you what degrees they offer, what specializations. So Bakersfield has business administration, has business administration for agricultural business, general business administration. They have a master's of business administration. So you can continue at Bakersfield, not only for your undergraduate, but also for your master's program. Same thing with Channel Islands. They have business administration online, general business administration, entrepreneurship, finance, global studies, management, marketing. They have a business administration master's program. So these are nice little resources to help you kind of figure out which schools you may want to be applying to, what you may be interested in, because within the next few weeks for workshop, we're going to be exploring all the different systems and all the different schools. So it could be a little overwhelming. I completely understand. But the whole point is to start compiling, rebuilding that master list, reworking it. So you're making sure that there are courses and schools that kind of, make sense for you and at least are offering what you're interested in and what you're hopefully planning on studying and pursuing in the next 4 years. And then these bottom two resources have support or give you the straight access to essay prompts for the Common App as well as the UC system. So fun times. Feel free to let us know if you have any questions, drop it in the chat, ask one of your case managers. We're all more than happy to help. But let's get into the topic for today. I just wanted to go over those resources for you guys. Fun times. Fun times. There you go. So today our topic is what is a major? Very similar to our Drive Your Life Series 4. We're focusing on majors. So what we've kind of explored and talked about already is our transcript, right? The transcript, tongue twister. The transcript tells a story of your academic journey, right? That's what we've learned. That's what we've kind of discussed. That's kind of the first opening the door when it comes to a college admissions advisor. So now the next step that we're thinking about is our major and what are extracurriculars. That's kind of the bold face or kind of the bare bones minimum that the school is saying like, oh, this is something that you're interested in. It's you finally letting them know like, hey, this is a little bit what I'm passionate about. Hey, this is something that I'm thinking of doing for myself. Hey, this is what I'm thinking of doing for the next 4 years of my life, or this is what I want to accomplish at your school. This is what I'm really passionate about. Selecting a major and understanding what your major kind of means is important because sometimes your major is super impacted. So, for instance, very popular majors like psychology, very popular majors like engineering are all majors that are heavily impacted, meaning that a lot of people are trying to go into this major, but they don't have enough seats. Automatically knowing that that's the major you're going into, that's a major that you're kind of passionate about, kind of lets you know that, okay, I need to make myself a little bit more competitive, or I need to try and make myself stand out, or I need to make sure that, I'm really showcasing who I am and what I'm all about. So that's the whole purpose of today. We're understanding both the major component, but also explaining and showcasing who you are as a person to validate and showcase on your application to say, hey, this is what I'm interested in studying, but make sure that you admit me because A, B, C, and D, and I can prove to you that I'm committed, determined, have that passion, everything in between. So that's what we're focusing on today, and that's what we're kind of exploring. Fun times, right? So, what is a major, right? That's the key thing that we want to understand. So essentially, a major is a focus or an area of study that you're going to be focusing on to earn a degree. Just like you earn your degree for high school, you earn the same type of degree or you have the core requirements when it comes to earning a major. It's a set list of classes / curriculum that you have to meet in order to complete and earn that degree. Very simple, very clean. And in conjunction with that major, you also have to meet your general education requirements. So very similar to what it is kind of like in high school, where you have to do your English, your math, your science, at least get that bare minimum education requirements to see what else or what other areas you may be interested in, what other kind of courses are out there. And then, of course, you're able to fine tune within your next 2 or final 2 years. So your your junior, senior year, and really take classes that dive deep into that major concentration. So it's taking a lot of classes in those areas, taking a lot of classes in different things. Your major can be either a subject, a theme, a profession. It could be anything in between. There's multiple different types of majors out there. And it's essentially you saying, I'm going to slightly learn a little bit more and kind of develop my passion for this topic or for this subject or to help me out earning in this profession. There we go. So what's kind of the difference? You have subject majors and you have professional majors. A subject major is something like sociology, psychology, education, Spanish, literature, English. Those are all key subjects, right? It's something that you're passionate about. It's an area, it's very broad, right? You're understanding and learning a little bit about like sociology, what it means, the studying the social habits of people, things like biology, you're understanding the life habits of other people. Ooh, what's happening here? There we go. And then the other half is you have professional majors. So those majors are geared towards you becoming a working professional. That the whole goal of this curriculum is not only to explore the content of that major or of that profession, but also kind of start building that experience that you can start working. Hopefully by the time that you graduate, you're able to start working within that field. So some of those professional fields that you can essentially, with your bachelor's degree, start working within is engineering, nursing, business, accounting. So something very specific saying like, I want to go into this profession specifically. So that's kind of the two different components of a major and two different varieties. And if you look inside your packets, actually, I can share my screen, which is, why don't I share my screen? Beautiful. Let me move this down. I'm pressing the wrong one. Let me move this over. If you ever get confused or if you ever need a little extra information, you have this nifty little handout to kind of remind you guys about when to choose a major, what the different types of majors there are, and how important it is to major and kind of go all about it. And it's just a little reminder and just kind of piggyback to just remind you if you ever feel a little lost or need a little extra support, we got you. So the key thing is that whether you're choosing a subject major, professional major, the goal is that this major is going to lead towards you earning a degree. That's our whole focus, right? We're going to college, we're going to this higher education, we're going to community college, whatever it is. We're studying, we're becoming confident, we're building our skill set on different types of areas to earn that degree, to validate and say, hey, you've done these 4 years, you've done these 2 years in this coursework or in this specific area. That showcases you've become a little bit more of an expert. You are able to either work in this field or you've become an expert in sociology, English, math, whatever that major is specifically. One of the biggest things as to why we push for degrees or why kind of going for a degree kind of matters is just reiterating the fact that the more you learn, the more you can earn across a lifetime, right? As you can see with the different types of degrees within this nice little graphic, I really like it because I think it's kind of fun that you can see just how much more you could be making, yearly across your lifetime with the higher of a degree that you kind of go for. So from an associate's degree, which is just your 2 years at a community college, to a bachelor's degree, that's over $30,000. That's a huge jump. Master's degree, that's another 10,000. It keeps jumping and jumping the more you learn. Why does it jump so much? Why does it become so much more? Actually,
The biggest.
I'm gonna move. Actually, I'm gonna keep it here. Why does it jump so much more? Because you're becoming more specialized. You're learning a little bit more about a certain subject, that profession, whatever it is that you're focusing on within that major. You're becoming more specialized. You're becoming an expert. And once you reach that expert level where you're creating new content, where you're creating new finds, where you're doing research at that professional degree level, so that's earning your doctor's degree or doctoral degree, that's when people say, you know what, you've become so well versed in this subject profession, you're an expert, now you're able to teach, go on for that, and that's why you kind of start earning more big bucks because your brain is now, super fine-tuned to this area, to the subject material that, people are going to go to you for advice to learn a little bit more about it. So that's why we kind of say, the more you learn, the more you earn. Now, should you overly stress about having a major right now? Should you overly stress about making sure that you have the best major right now, that you have the most support right now? No. No, you do not at all. Why? Because you have the next 4 years of your life to really plan it out and figure it out. A lot of times why some of these majors are super popular, like biology, like nursing, is the fact that students go in thinking, this is something I love. This is something maybe I saw from TV and I think this is what I want to do. But unfortunately, once you start getting into the coursework, once you start seeing what it kind of looks like, that's when you're like, oh, maybe this isn't for me. I really liked my sociology classes better. And then you have plenty of time to switch, change around, go for different degrees, go for different majors. 100% of the time, you have so much flexibility on that. So I have a little video, and I think the sound is working, so that we can listen and just hear from people.
The biggest adjustment for me in college was figuring out what I really did want to settle on for my first major. My freshman year, I entered into the engineering program in biomedical engineering. And I sort of set ahead with this idea that, like, this is what I picked, this is what I need to do. But once I got to school, I realized it wasn't quite the right fit for me. So I think the biggest adjustment was just sort of figuring out what was going to make me happiest and what was the best academic program for me. And also coming to the realization that I'm a freshman in college. It's okay to change my major and it's okay to try something new and do something that wasn't in the plan when I started.
No, 100%, you have that complete flexibility, you have that vulnerability, you have that time frame. You are all coming in straight out of high school, straight out of college. You have that flexibility to just explore and see what's truly there for you and what you want to go for and what you really want to keep in mind. As you pick a major, even as you're applying right now in high school, know that you're not stuck in that major. You have plenty of time to change your life. You have plenty of time to switch out. You have plenty of time to go back to school and say, you know what, this really wasn't for me. Let's do round 2. Let's try something else. Or even going into getting a master's degree and saying, you know what, it was nice learning about biology, but let's try going into education because now that I've done some experience, now that I've done some of this, that sounds so much more appealing and it just seems more like me, or it sounds more like that. There is no perfect test or anything to find that major. It's really going to be based on you. And one of the biggest pieces of advice that I'll tell any one of you across the board is honestly, until you actually try it, so doing an internship, volunteering, it's really going to be hard for you to know whether that's the passion or that's the career you really want. There are plenty of things that sound interesting, but until you actually try it out and kind of go for it, that's really what it's going to come down to, really just see it. So I really suggest within their summers in school, college, even now, if there's an opportunity for you to kind of explore or see whether that's something you're passionate about, criminal justice, forensics, research, anything in between, to really see if you like working in the labs or if you like working in big offices or you like working with people. Great time to do it with an internship or over the summer because that's really going to help you out. And ultimately, it's your major, your pathway. Not everyone's path is going to be the same. A lot of times we flip, we flop. You can even look at me. I studied biological and behavioral sciences to go into pre-med, and that's not what I'm working in, right? That's not what I'm doing right now. Something that I truly enjoyed, fascinated with, but it doesn't determine your life, and it's not going to force you into the pathway that you want to go. There's plenty of options, plenty of flexibility out there. Now, what if you're in a position and you're like, you know what? I love everything. I want to do both psychology, sociology, law. I want to do everything in between. That's what's for me. Well, you have the opportunity to double major. You have the opportunity to minor. The key thing when it comes to double majoring and when it comes to anything along those lines is that when you're thinking of double majoring, you're thinking of picking up two concentrations, right? Each major / each degree has a certain amount of coursework. If you're thinking of doing a double majoring with a science major, it's really hard to add an additional major because science majors already have a lot of coursework. You have to do physics, chemistry, biology. You already have to do calculus. You have to do then your other science courses. So it's easier to pick up a double major with something along the lines that's similar to it. So for example, if you're doing engineering, it's easy to do both mechanical and maybe material science, or mechanical and another electrical engineering, because both of those go hand in hand and a lot of the coursework overlaps. That's really just 1 to 2 classes difference that's going to help you earn your double major and earn both of those degrees. It's a lot harder if you're doing engineering and biology. Those are two completely left fields and they both require different things. That it's going to take you more time to be able to graduate within those 4 years. It may take you 5, 6 years because you're taking on a lot of coursework. Now, if you're super passionate about it, but maybe you don't have the time, so let's say you are someone who's trying to go into nursing, trying to help out doctors, trying to go into biology or anything in between, maybe you want to do a minor. You could do things from art, voice, simple things, because it's only half the coursework and it gives you a little bit more flexibility and a little bit more time frame to not only do those classes, but make sure that you're conquering your major. Because that's our biggest thing, being able to conquer that major so that we can earn that degree in those 4 years. But minors are super flexible. You can get minors in a lot of different areas. You can do biology, minor in sociology, biology, minor in psychology. You can do engineering, minor in art, anything that kind of works best for you and something that you're also passionate about. Because one of my biggest things is that this is kind of the first time that you're going into education on your own. This is the first time where you really get to make those choices for yourself. So take advantage. If you're really passionate about two different things, if you took your freshman year, what's the next class? Anthropology class, and you just fell in love with the material and the subject, why not continue the coursework? If you really liked it, if you really found it intriguing, if you really just thrived in that environment, why not continue it? Why not kind of go for it? And why not keep studying for it? I think it's a great option, especially if you're someone who has the great opportunities like some of the kids with Harbor Teacher Prep, or if you've done a lot of college courses and you've knocked out a lot of your general education requirements. So if you've been able to do that, then even more so, why not do a minor? Why not do a double major? If you've taken advantage of being able to take free college classes or the classes at the club, that helps you out so much because it alleviates a lot of room. That gives you a lot of free time to really play around and take your time with your courses and take your time with that major or that minor so that you can really understand the content, understand the material, and just, succeed, vibe, thrive under all of it. But what if you're in a position where you're like, you know what, Eddie, I don't really know what I want to do. I'm a little all over the place. I want to study a little bit of this and that and a little Shazam, Shabam, everything in between. Okay, well, the next best thing that I can tell you is why not do a liberal arts major? One of the biggest things about liberal arts majors is that it gives you a wide variety of different areas. So you don't have to choose anything specifically. You get to dabble and dip into philosophy, economics, sociology, everything in between without having to make that huge commitment. Once you start finding things that you're like, you know what, I really liked sociology a little bit more, and you start taking maybe 2, 3, 4 more classes in that area, that's where you can make a little adjustment and you can earn a liberal arts degree with an emphasis in sociology or an emphasis in something else. But it kind of gives you that freedom and the flexibility to just explore. So if you're someone who's like, I really don't know, you can either do the undecided, that option is totally viable, it's totally an option, or you can go into the liberal arts degree and just say, I want to test it all out. I want to just explore, play, see what else is out there and see what is there for me. And we have another little video just to kind of reiterate and just why it shouldn't be a stressor if you don't know what you want to study, or it shouldn't be too big of a stressor if you're not entirely sure. You're only in high school. You don't need to have the rest of your life planned out. You have the rest of your life to figure it out. So let's listen.
Students often think that you have to know what you want to major in or what you want to do for the rest of your life in order to do your college search process, and that is just so far from the truth. Most people are still figuring out, if they would ask the adults in their life, they're still figuring out what they want to be when they grow up. And so there's lots of time to do it. Students need to instead think about how they want to learn. That's the important question. They're going to get to college and usually have the first year, if not the first 2 years, to take courses, figure out what they're good at, take things that they've never had a chance to be exposed to before. That's what's going to help them then figure out what to do next, what your major is going to be, and what your life experience is going to be. College gives you opportunities to find those things out. You don't need to do them ahead of time and think, if I don't have this all figured out, I'm going to fail. Often students who think they know what they're going to major in, they change their mind 2 or 3 times. And sometimes that's a much more difficult process and disappointing process than the student that comes in undecided and is very open to everything that comes their way.
I love that. I love that. I love that. I love even what she says, because I think it's a great point. If you're someone who's like, you know what, I want to do community colleges. I want to go to community college. Wow, I can't speak today for whatever reason. I want to do community college because I don't really know what I want to do, or I'm not really sure what's happening in my life. Well, no one expects you to have everything together. No one expects you to just, figure everything out or have your life so put together. We're here to, college is experience to be able to just explore, live, play with everything, play with the different types of courses. You're going to have a multiple flexibility. It's so much different in high school, where you're not just limited to just one type of English class or one type of speech class. You have a huge variety of everything in between to choose from, classes like history of Beyonce to history of the French Revolution. Whatever interests you, whatever, makes you be like, wow, that sounds so fun, or wow, I really want to study that. Take that time to truly enjoy. You have those years to play, and you have those years to really just kind of go out and enjoy. So if you're someone who's right now saying like, I don't know what I want to do, I don't even know if I should do college because I don't know what I want to do, that's totally fine. There is no stressors at all. There's plenty of time to figure this out. No one has their life together. I don't even have my life together. It's fine. We're going to figure it out together. It's fine. We'll make it through. It's fine. We got this.
Students
It's
often
fine. It's fine. It's fine. So how does it come to play when it comes to different types of degrees, when it comes to that kind of going into it? So when it comes to a degree, the degree is essentially there to validate that not only have you done your 4 years, your 5 years, whatever program that you're kind of going for, but it also validates the type of education that you received. It's going to let whoever your employer is, yourself, whoever's looking at that degree, know this is what you studied, this is what you focused on, this is what you spent your years. Whether it's that undecided, whether it's that liberal arts degree, whether it's things like that. There are 2 different things that you'll see as you're looking through different degrees, or different types of different degrees as you're looking through majors, looking through schools. Maybe if you already know what you want to study and you're finding schools, you'll see different types of things like BA, BS. What does that all kind of mean? So when you're looking at a BA, that's the Bachelor's of Arts, and that's essentially you kind of doing a lot more the study of, doing a lot of more critical thinking, doing a lot more kind of just understanding and talking about the concept that you're working on. It could be a BA in psychology, it could be a in sociology, it could be a BA in biology. It's understanding those concepts and really kind of understanding the theory behind it. When you're looking at anything that says BS, so that's the Bachelor's of Science, you're really looking at doing a lot more hands-on work. The whole point of the Bachelor's of Science is that you're doing a lot of times things that are just, tangible, things that you're able to research, things that you're able to kind of explore and kind of do a little bit more hands-on. That's what you're kind of showcasing, that I did a lot of that hands-on work. And of course, if you're doing a BFA, that's very, very specific. That's you doing a Bachelor's of Fine Arts. That's you automatically saying, just the fact that you said a BFA already tells me that you're an incredible artist, or you kind of gone into that artistic passion, or you kind of gone to that artistic realm because you're following that passion. You're kind of diving deeper and deeper and deeper into it. So that's kind of the differences between the different types of degrees. When it comes to understanding the components of your degree, this is something that you're going to see once you're at your college, at your university. this is how it kind of looks like when we mean that, your first 2 years are really kind of there to explore. So within your first year, or that first kind of bottom tier that you have in that nice little kind of bluish color, is your chance to kind of explore, join different types of things, because college is not just education, it's also an experience. So that's you really just exploring, taking classes. You're taking your first kind of sets of elective to kind of explore something that maybe you may be interested in, maybe you're not interested in. Then you have probably about like 40 classes, give or take, it all depends on the major, that are going to be focusing on your specific core of what you want to study, what that major is, what your emphasis is. And then you have 60 units of just general education requirements, right? That means you have so much flexibility, so much time to just explore and take classes from psychology, religion, philosophy, things that you never really thought about. Most degrees only require you to do 120 to 140 units, so it's really nothing too stressful. The only degrees that ask you the most, and I'm going to be honest, is just a science degree, because they have the most amount of major units. So if you're thinking any science class, usually it's like 4 units, because you have to do a lab, you have to do something else with it. So it takes a little bit longer. But if you're doing something like business or things like that, those classes tend to go a little bit faster, because, they don't have as many core requirements. You have a lot more flexibility with it. So that's just something so that you kind of keep in mind when it comes to earning your degree, especially when it comes to earning like a double major, anything along those lines. Just remember how much you're packing onto your plate and how much you're actually able to handle. The biggest thing any one of us will tell you is that if you can see the degree agreement or the articulation agreement, your best friend will be able to highlight and cross out things that you can double dip in. When you can double dip, we're all living our best lives, because we're just handling our business. We're just doing everything together. It's like a vibe. It's totally a vibe. So once you kind of understand the components of your degree, now let's talk about the different types of degrees. So the very foundational type of degree is your bachelor's degree. That's what we're all working towards. That's what we're all kind of getting for. You can get your associate's degree, but then of course you can get your bachelor's degree. That's what we're all kind of starting off with, whether it's the bachelor's of arts, the theory, bachelor's of science, the BFA, anything like that. That's you kind of becoming understanding or having a little foundational understanding of that concept, theme, profession. Then if you really are passionate about it, you can start working on your master's degree. That's you becoming a little bit more of an expert, understanding that field, becoming a little bit more diligent in that field. It's no more of those general educational requirements. The reason why this degree is a little bit shorter, often 1 to 2 years, is because you're focusing on that material specifically. You're focusing on your master's in teaching. The key point is that you're already kind of dedicated, or you already know what it is that you want, so you're ready to take on just a whole bunch of content and understanding of that subject material. Then if you're super passionate, or if you're going super above and beyond and you find this so just like immaculate, the concept that you're looking at, then you need to go for a doctor's of philosophy, so a doctoral degree. That's so crazy, because you're becoming an expert. You're becoming someone that everyone's going to look to and say, can you tell me about sociology? Can you tell me about X, Y, B, and C? To the point where you have to develop your own research and have a dissertation. The biggest things, if you ever met someone who's going for their doctoral degree, is that dissertation, because that's essentially a crazy paper in which they're validating their findings from their research and trying to provide it to a panel of experts in the field that they're studying. And those experts are there to tear apart your dissertation, keep tearing it apart until it's perfect, so that they accept you as one of your peers, or that's the best way I can say it, as like one of their peers. And that officially earns you your doctors of philosophy. It can take a lot of years, it can take a short time. It depends on your dissertation. It also depends on who is reading your dissertation. It could take you multiple years, because again, their job is to nitpick, go through, and just go through your dissertation as much as possible. So that's why it could take you a little bit longer. It could take multiple years, but it's really worth it, because once you become and your dissertation passes, you are that expert. You can go to any news station and say, you need my opinion on this? I got you. You need my opinion on that? I got you. You need to cite me for your research paper? I got you. I'm citable now, because I am a doctor of philosophy in my subject. So it's very fun. Very, very fun. So to keep things lively, we're going to have a little quiz time. So if you guys could please either drop it in the chat, unmute yourself, super, super easy. Just mini-minute little quiz just to keep up to date before we go into our next topic. I promise, I promise. Drop it in the chat, unmute yourself, just as to keep track of what our little quiz game is. So, for a career like a doctor, optometrist, veterinarian, teacher, do you need to major in those areas? Yes, no? What do you guys think? I see a lot is happening in the chat, but I can't see it. And now I can see it. Wow, I see a lot of yeses. I see a no. Now I see some no's. I see a lot of yeses. I saw some no's. Well, no, you actually don't. Because those degrees are professional degrees, master's degrees, doctoral degrees. You can technically go under any major. So you can go under a Spanish major, you can go under a English major, a philosophy major. Fun fact, if you're thinking of going to the law, one of the best majors that make it into law school are actually English and philosophy majors because they understand how to create arguments, how to dissect arguments, and really know how to kind of make their point across, which makes them great candidates for law school or medical school like this. But that's a little fun fact. You can go in as an arts major. The key thing that's going to make you go into that master's of nursing or go into that medical field is how you do on your MCAT, optometry CAT, anything like that. Yeah. But that's only for this specific career or type of career, medicine. When it comes to teaching, education, yes, you have to get your degree in education or master's in order to work in it. Actually, even with teaching, you don't need to have your bachelor's degree in education. You could have it in English, Spanish, art. What matters is that precision when it comes to that master's program, that you understand the concept and you do the core requirements. Just like applying to college, you guys have a test, you guys have to take all of these core or foundational requirements, just like chemistry, biology, microbiology, everything in between, calculus, physics, like such a party, such a party. And that's what's going to help you create a better MCAT score. Fun. And I saw in the chat, to become a teacher, you have to have a degree in education. Yes, but a master's degree. Your undergraduate degree can be in anything. Your master's degree has to be in education so that you are certified and allowed, because that master's degree validates that you are able to teach kids, able to teach younger generation, that you have the skill set to conquer that. But when it comes to your bachelor's degree, it could be in art, science, agricultural, pharmacology, I don't know, anything in between, whatever majors are out there. Next one. Ooh, there we go. To be a nurse, you need to major in nursing. True or false? See falses this time. Ooh, I see a true. Let's see. This one is true. Why? Because nursing does not require you to go into higher education. Nursing is one of those careers that you can start off as soon as you get your bachelor's degree. So you don't need to go into getting a master's degree. So it's really understanding what that kind of degree kind of means and what that job field looks like. Certain job fields require you to go into higher education, right? You can't become a teacher without a master's. You can't become a doctor without your doctoral degree. You can't become a lawyer without your law degree. You can't become, what else is out there? There's plenty of things out there. But, you know, true. When it comes to nursing or things like engineering, you just need to go into your bachelor's degree and then you just need to pass your certification. You know, that's all you really need to do. But it's totally fine, no stressors. I'm just testing it out to test the waters. So true or false? To be a lawyer, you need to study pre-law. What about this one? Do you need to study pre-law to become a lawyer? I see trues, I see falses. I see everything in between. Let's see. No, Like I mentioned earlier, as your undergraduate degree, you can study anything. What's really going to make it is that professional degree or getting that master's degree, getting that doctoral degree that's going to secure you working in that field. Even I mentioned earlier that some of the best lawyers studied philosophy and English. And that's what helped them build arguments, help them become better speakers, help them really analyze and break down their opponent's arguments and really break it down so that they can understand it better and dissect and find the flaws in it, which makes them incredible lawyers because they just know how to speak very well and know how arguments work. So, if you're interested in law, if you're really thinking that might be something for you, I'd say maybe do criminology and maybe add a little minor or a double major in philosophy or English, because that's going to help you build your arguments. That's going to help you build, that thought process and that critical thinking, because philosophy is a lot of critical thinking. It sure is. Almost done. So now we've done a little quiz. We've done kind of a little explore to liven things up. But now, how do you choose your major, right? How do I figure out what's best for me? How do I kind of start this process if I'm kind of a little new, kind of a little bit about it? Things are betraying me today. Why are we being betrayed today? Don't betray me, PowerPoint. I don't want to be betrayed today. But 6 components for picking. So 6 key things that you may want to consider. Always talk to your case manager because we're happy to help you out. Again, if you're trying to figure out what might be something passionate about or might be something good for you to kind of apply under, think of things that inspire you. Think of things that you're really passionate about. Think of skills that you are really good at. Think of things that you're really kind of strong at, or what you want to, another kind of thing. If you guys have been here, if you're not, again, sit down with the case manager. One of my favorite websites is California Career Zone because you get to explore different types of work values. What type of environment do you want to work in? I think the Boys and Girls Club is a very fun work environment because not only are we interacting with you guys as kids, we're able to interact with staff, we do training, so it's a very talkative, just kind of active work environment. Yes, it can be very busy. Yes, it can be a little draining, but it's a very fun environment to be able to just mix, mingle, and talk with all of you guys and just get that interaction. I know a lot of people sometimes say oh, doesn't it get repetitive? And honestly, yes and no. Yes, because we always have the A through G, we always have workshops. No, because every year it changes a little bit, right? Every year each class is a little different. Every year you guys bring something new to the table. Each one of you is so different that it never feels repetitive to me. At least me personally. I never feel oh, I'm doing this again. It's oh, of course I can do this, or I can help you out, Cool things. But what are you looking for within your major? If you like something like working in offices or type cases, or if you like repetitive work, maybe you want to do something like a research lab assistant. That might be something super awesome for you because it's a lot of repetitive work, and especially when it comes to research, because you're retesting everything that you're doing. Do career exploration on California Career Zones. Do connecting from majors to careers. And just the biggest thing that I'll say is just review and reality check yourself. Sometimes we watch TV and we're like, oh my gosh, I can be a forensics pathologist. And then you realize I cannot stand blood. Maybe we need to reconsider some of our career choices. If we can't handle the blood, we can't handle the gore. Yes, it's super cool. Yes, I think I could kick butts out there doing that. But maybe not for me because I don't see myself around or in that environment or constantly working with cadavers. That's not something for me. That's not something I kind of want to do, so maybe that's not for me. And in your packet, I'll take a little break. I have this little extra assignment to help you out. So with major exploration, there's no magical test, told you guys earlier. It reminds you the different types of degrees, how your major is constructed when it comes to double majoring, the exploration, fun. You have this little activity there, which I think if you guys fill it out, or if you're someone who's a little bit stuck, I think it's a great opportunity for you guys to check it out and kind of fill it out and give it to your case manager so that we can raffle away some golden tickets. I think that's an awesome prize and valid for you guys doing this and turning it in. But you have this activity, what subjects do I enjoy? It's to help you figure out what major is interested for you. So what are your top subjects that you're like, oh, I really like this subject, and your ability in it? Sometimes we love math, but math sometimes is not our strong suit. I understand, I love it, I appreciate it. Not my strong suit though. Totally fine. Sometimes it's Chemistry, that was my strong suit. Love it, love it, love it. Vibing, thriving, thriving. What are your top subjects? Rate your abilities. Are you super, super strong at it? Or are you like, maybe not? And then what subjects are you a little bored in? What subjects are you like, that's not for me. That's not something I find interesting. I never liked history. I know some people love history. That's just not my cup of tea. I'm not a fan of it. So that's something that I never wanted to study or continue in because I was like, not for me. I really like chemistry. I really like biology. I really like those sciences because I always found it so interesting. That's why I like helping people with it. But then you can cross out some of the majors that you have an interest. So right here are some possible majors, right? Underneath it's giving you an example of different types of majors. So cross out ones that you think are like, doesn't sound like it's for me. This is again to help you out. Don't have to do it. If you already know what you have to do, no stress. We have more activities on the way. Believe me, we're not even done. I still have like a few more to talk about. It's fine. But to help you out, cross out things that you're like, no, and then look over what sounded interesting or what sounded cool for you. There's this little handout in there just to remind you of the different types of engineering because there's like 1,001 different types of engineering out there. You may say you want to be in engineering, but then we'll always tell you what type of engineering. And then this one, what skills do you have? What are key things that you find very interesting about you or that you think you're really strong at? Being reliable, taking responsibility, helping others, using time effectively, working with numbers, using technology, just different types of skills. And then what are your top skills? What do you feel are your highest and what do you value the most? So it's just a little activity to kind of help you out explore your majors. Fun times, right? Party, party, party. If you already know what you want to do, no stressors, even fantastic, because we still got to talk about ourselves, right? So let's get down to business. Okay, I see the time. I promise we're gonna get through this. We're gonna get through this. We're gonna get through this. I promise. So now that we've kind of understood our major, we kind of know what it's kind of about, or we're kind of thinking like, oh, maybe this is what I want to study. The next component of today is how do we stand out, right? What are colleges and schools looking at? What are we really thinking about? How do we kind of stand out when it comes to our applications? And the answer to that question is you. You're the one that's going to make your application incredible. You are the one that's going to make whoever's reading your application say, yes, you need to be part of our program, or like, not so much. You didn't come off the page. You didn't spark to me. We need to make sure that you're showcasing that. Now, you may ask yourself, like, how do you demonstrate that? How do you make it seem like, yes, you need to choose me? And part of the way that kind of comes into play is just, one is your vulnerability and being able to showcase and talk about yourself when it comes to those random people or strangers. If you really think about it, your application, your college application, is the one and only time you're going to be able to speak to these admissions representatives, to these people that are going to make those decisions on whether or not you get out of the school. So the biggest thing that I encourage every single one of you is to kind of drop down your guard. I know it's very hard to do. I know it's like, it's very uncomfortable to do. Even for me, it's very uncomfortable. But it's really essential because that's how they're really going to get to know you. As much as you show of yourself is as much as that representative is going to get to know you. They're not going to call you. They're not going to say, hey, like, I was a little confused about your application. They're not going to send you an email or schedule you for an interview. It's just based on that application. So we got to be able to drop our guard. We got to just be able to showcase our commitment, our drive, our dedication. Because at the end of the day, all of us are just amazing people. All of us are just incredible people, which is what makes this job kind of fun because each one of you brings unique flavor and unique activities, unique vibes, everything in between. So where can you showcase yourself, right? There's two key places in which you can showcase your personality, your interest, what you're passionate about, just a little bit more about you and your thought process and your noggin. The first one is personal statements / PIQs. That's where you're talking about your life experiences, the impact of your personal development. You can answer questions that came up in your application, like why are you doing band for 5 years when you want to study kinesiology? Or why are you always late for karate? Or why don't you have too many extracurricular activities? you're able to answer those questions with these personal statements, just talking about, oh, you know what, I couldn't do extracurricular activities because I had to take care of my siblings, I had to do X, Y, B, and C, or this is what was going on in my life. Oh, another fun fact about me is that I've actually been doing karate since the age of 2, and that's another facet to myself that helps me de-stress, de-escalate, and it really kind of takes me away from the hard issues in life. Whatever that kind of thing is, that's where you kind of get to showcase the other component for yourself. When you're thinking of education, it's no longer about the grades, because if you're thinking of the schools you're applying to, countless other people are in the same spot as you, right? Countless other people are top of their class. Countless other people have those incredible grades, right? Countless other people are going to have very similar grades to you, right? Grades don't really change that much. What changes so much, and what changes everything in between, is these personal statements, is these extracurricular activities. What you do is not going to be the same thing as the person at the next school over does. What you do is not going to be the same thing if you're the only person from your school that's coming to the Boys and Girls Club. That already creates new doors, new opportunities, just new forms of expression, because that's you showcasing what you're passionate about. Explain why different activities that you do, your aspirations. Even when it comes to extracurricular activities, key things that, schools, admissions representatives want to see is your commitment, your passion. It's not about the variety of things that you do, but more so the commitment to things that you have, to show that, if you're joining something or if you're doing something, it's for a reason. You're not just signing up to say, oh, I put my name there. I was part of the club. I showed up once. No. That's not what we're looking for. It's, I did this. I grew with it. I built confidence in myself to start doing leadership. I still built confidence to start doing this. Even if you're someone who maybe doesn't have anything crazy extracurricular activities, that's not a stressor, because you have things going on in your life. You're even joining the Boys and Girls Club now, so that's new opportunities that you can kind of explore and talk about. New avenues, even some of our programs and participation. That's new things to kind of build that leadership, build that confidence in yourself to kind of do more, go more. And the biggest thing is growth. It's no longer just those academics. It's the whole understanding of who you are as a person, and whether you have that dedication, that passion, or that spark, and then whether it comes across in your application, whether you showcase you in the application. That's the key point. That's the biggest thing that we're looking for, showcasing you. But remember, everything I'm talking about right now is really only going for the UC and private schools and scholarships. If you're thinking CSU, I'm sorry to break it to you, but we're looking mostly at our GPA. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. CSUs are looking a lot at your GPA. Unless you're doing the EOP program, which has incredible resources for you, then that's a whole other story. But when it comes to the personal statements, extracurriculars, you'll see it on your UC application, private school application, scholarships. They want to hear about that. CSUs, it's only if you're doing that EOP, which is, I think all of us should be doing EOP, because it's like your second Boys and Girls Club home, and it's a great opportunity to get into admissions. But on the application, they're not looking at those factors. I know sometimes, I only say this because sometimes kids ask me, I'm like, oh, sorry. No, they're not going to ask for your resume. Not today. Sorry. But hopefully in the future. But just as a little FYI. Now, how can you get those support, or what does it come to play when it comes to those personal insight questions? Again, these insight questions come for scholarships, everything in between. Even your EOP questions, it can come in to support that with you. But these are the questions that you have. You also have them in your packet. I printed them out for you, the different types of questions. So from things like, what's a background, identity, or interest that you believe would be incomplete, that your application would be incomplete without it? Ooh, I have some drawings on here. Let me clear them real quick. There we go. What's something that would pop up for you? Same thing for the UC personal insight questions. And you may ask yourself, like, how can I get help? How can I polish my applications? How can I make them, beautiful? How can I make them beautiful? And really, the answer to that is, there you go. Join Power of the Pen. Honestly. Every Monday, 4 to 5, is there to it's an hour dedicated to just be able to work on your UC personal insight questions, Common App application questions. It's all there to kind of help you out and pull out who you truly are and who you really are passionate about. That's the whole goal of these programs. Even talking to your case managers, we're all more than happy to review, edit, go over personal insight questions, go over everything in between, because that's what we're here to do. That's what we're here to support you with. That's what we're here to help you get into the schools, get into scholarships, everything in between. Our goal and our training is to help showcase you and validate who you are. Not validate, but really express who you are. Now, how do I start? How do I really start showcasing myself? And so I'm going to go back to this email because I have this lovely little activity packet in there for you. And the very first thing that you can kind of do, or that you can kind of think about when it comes to starting to just kind of understand yourself, is what are 23 things you want your admissions representative to know about you? And I love this exercise because it's very, very true, right? Whoever's reading your application is a complete stranger. You don't even know their name. They know your name. You don't know anything about them. You're never really going to get to talk to this person. You're never really going to get to find out anything from them. So because this is such a strange transaction, the biggest thing to really showcase yourself, and the easiest way to kind of start thinking to yourself, like, oh, like, how do I really showcase who I am, is to ask yourself, what are 23 things that I want this admissions representative to know about you? Regardless of your name, regardless of your age, regardless of your grade level, what are key things to yourself that you want this person to know? So take a moment, again, fill this out, send it to your case manager, fun times, raffling away some golden tickets, promise, 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 at least one per side. So make sure you guys fill it in. But you can do little bullet points, anything a little simple, write it in pen. What are 23 things? So something, at least for me personally, as like a little example, whoever's reading my application, I want them to know that a big part of my life, especially when it was in high school, was dance. So always, I'm doing this very simple just because, time. I don't want to take away too much of your time. But dance was a huge part of my life. It was a huge part of like my personal expression. And I think it's just, the freedom of being able to choreograph, I think, is something just really essential, or something that I really want that person who's reading my application to really understand and know about myself. Choreograph. Something else really crucial or important about me, same thing that I'll tell you guys, it's just the fact that I love to bake, cook, all that fun stuff. Another thing is that, I have to take care of my mom, house chores. My parents are always working, or in high school, my parents were always working. So that's something that I thought was very key to me, is that we had to have a lot of responsibility. We had to mature pretty quickly when we were younger because we wanted to be able to support and help out our families, help out around the house, making sure that we weren't bothering too much. At least one big thing for me is that one of the reasons why I didn't want to do too many extracurricular activities is because my school was really far away, and I didn't want to bother my parents because they already worked so hard that I wouldn't want to bother them waiting to pick me up or helping me find a ride. So, what are 23 things that really stand out to you? And if you're really kind of stuck, and if you're really not sure what to think about, or what might stand out for you, is that, again, in this packet, I'm just coming up with everything. Sometimes is that not only do you have tips for writing your essays, and of course the essay prompts in there yourself, so you know what you have to write about. Sometimes is that you have this list of different types of values. So this might also kind of spark a little interest for yourself into different types of things that really spark your curiosity, or I think really are important to you. So that's a sense of community. Whether you want them to know that one of the biggest things that's important in your life is either, responsibility, that you have so much responsibility from taking care of your siblings, from being that kind of translator for your parents, anything in between. So what are 23 things that are really, really crucially important to you? What are crucially, say, all these things say Eddie, or all these 23 things speak about me, whether that's accountability, recognition, honesty, or loyalty. What are those things? It could be specific events, specific activities, anything in between. Now, I'm going to go back to this one. Oh, good. Then once you kind of do that, you notice that on the activity page, I had a little thing called vulnerability. Now, if you've been here for a while, I'm sure you remember this exercise because I love doing it every year. It's like always so much fun. And I promise, we're almost there. I promise. I think I'm gonna end a little earlier, to be honest, at the rate I'm going, which is good times. So now, quick little question. Drop it in the chat, drop it and speak out. What does vulnerability mean to you? What does that kind of sound to you? When you think of the words vulnerable, when you hear vulnerability, what does it kind of mean to you? I think you guys won. No stressors. But at least when I think of vulnerability, for me personally, I think of just kind of dropping down my guard and just being able to, essentially drop down my guard and just being able to showcase myself. Just really talk about myself and just really kind of reveal what I'm really thinking or how I'm really feeling or just what I'm really kind of going down. Because a lot of times I think I can be very guarded or very conscientious. So that's what it means, at least for me, to be vulnerable. Oh, expressive, opening about yourself, being able to express your emotions to other. I love that. I love it. Means that you're expanded, not being locked up, a book, being open. I love it. You guys are doing great. You guys are awesome. Yeah, being vulnerable, it's hard. It honestly is hard. I'm not going to lie to you and say like, oh no, it's super, super easy. But in all honesty, I think when it comes to the college application season, that's the best time to kind of learn how to be a little bit vulnerable for yourself, to kind of learn how to lower that guard and really kind of showcase who you really are, express those emotions, express those times in your life that maybe you don't always talk about or maybe you don't go for it. Again, vulnerability, as you're dropping down these barriers, is up to your comfort level. The person who's reading that application, the person who's looking through this application is someone that's completely new to you, someone that's never gonna go back and look through and go back to you. It's really just open for yourself. It's a complete stranger, so it's just kind of like a one-way connection. But I think this is kind of the biggest time. So when it comes to vulnerability and when it comes to just showcasing that, I think the best time or the best kind of exercise to kind of go about it is to do an if you really knew me, then you would know statement. And I did this last year. I like doing it every year because it's a really great chance to kind of show that vulnerability and just kind of start that thought process to kind of lower your guard and get a little bit comfortable. Not only with your case managers, but with that admissions representative to just kind of lower that guard to tell your story, talk about what you've kind of gone through. So in that little packet, in that little exercise, again, golden ticket, raffle ticket. My goal is that you guys do your 23, but also that you can do your if you really knew me statement. And feel free to share it with your case manager that you're very close with, that you're very confident with. You don't have to share it with all of us. It doesn't have to go straight to your coordinator. Of course, your case manager can then tell your coordinator, like, oh, I got this person's packet, all that fun stuff. But this is to start lowering that guard. So what is your if you really knew me, then you would know statement? And as an example, I'll tell you mine. So if you really knew me, then you would know that for the biggest part of my life, in all honesty, throughout growing up, throughout everything in between, one of my biggest struggles has been my relationship with my mom. Everything that, ever since I was little, to be honest, she always would say things that there was something wrong with me, whether it was physically, emotionally, either the things that I did, either the way that I talked, even the food that I would eat, that it was either too much or too this, too that it kind of ingrained in my mind that, there's something wrong with me. She would threaten me that I would have to go to the doctor or that I would need to get fixed or that there is that kind of mindset. So it kind of made me not only lose confidence, but maybe kind of just not believe in myself. Just the fact that someone who, you would think would be your biggest fan was always just shutting you down or always just telling you that, no, something's wrong with you. You need to get fixed. Like, what's going on with you? Like, you got to get fixed. Like, what is that? Like, what are you? Who even wants to be around you? And even with that, she would tell me things like, oh, people would be making fun of me because of my weight. Because, I'm very thick. I'm very, very thick. Comes to either the way that I talk to everything in between that. Everyone was making fun of me. Whether that's the truth, I never really witnessed it. It really came more so from her that I kind of lost that confidence. And it kind of got to the point where, I didn't really have that smile in myself or had that kind of belief in myself, or I kind of had that depressive state that for a time in my life, to be very honest, I used to do self-harm. I used to kind of cut myself. Not fun times, little cut myself, a little bleedy, little action. That's just a little part of my life. But, that's my little, if you really knew me, then you would know that that's kind of a phase of my life. It doesn't have to be something that deep. It doesn't have to be something that crazy. It's to your comfort level. I'm way past this. Our relationship is, it's like the same. But, I've moved on past this. I have more confidence in myself and I have kind of more belief in myself. And part of the reason why I talk about this or kind of bring that up, there's different phases in all of our lives. Oh my gosh, what's happening? Different phases in all of our lives. And that's what's going to help bring that out when it comes to your personal statements. So, what are those challenges? What are those things? What's those, if you really knew me, then you would know moments? And just what are the effects that it had on you? Because I constantly felt like there was something wrong with me, the effect that it had on me is that I didn't really believe in myself. I didn't have that belief in what I could do. I didn't have that belief that I was capable of doing anything like that. It made me feel hopeless. It made me feel like I didn't have that value, or that there was something wrong with me, that I was just weird, or that no one could kind of bond with me. What was something that I needed, or what was something that you needed? Just someone, something there that's just that support, or to kind of say, like, you know what, there is no such thing as perfect, or there's no such thing as right. Every person's a little bit different. What did I do, or what did I did? Well, unfortunately, it was not great mental health or self-care. But what came from it is just as that relationship grew, or as, I was able to build relationships with people that cared about me, that it kind of forced me to kind of wake up and say, oh, this isn't something that's beneficial to me. This isn't something that's going to be great for me. And on the other side, one of my biggest fans was always my dad. He was always just like a huge fan of me. So when he kind of caught on, he was always like, no, well, you shouldn't be doing that. And just the damage it was hurting from him. What did I learn, or what did I gain? It's now being able to just be yourself, be expressive, and to let that kind of be on the side burner, to recognize that, not everyone has the same love language. Not everyone has the same way to express things. That's something that, I kind of learned from those experiences, that not everyone knows how to say, like, I love you in the same basic format, as well as not everyone has the same format. And you have to kind of build yourself up, because at the end of the day, it's for you. That's how it kind of goes down to. And that's kind of the concept of what we're thinking about when it comes to your personal statements. It's just talking about you and what you've kind of gone through. It doesn't have to be anything crazy. It could be, if you really knew me, oh my gosh, what is happening with my computer? Why does it hate me? Why is it betraying me? Don't betray me. Stop betraying me. There we go. Stop betraying me. But how does it kind of go for this, or how does it kind of impact you for your life? And again, it doesn't have to be anything crazy. It could be something that goes on in your life, something that's, something that is a huge chapter in your life, something that kind of made that big monumentous change. So even something like, if you really knew me, I never thought that I would be at the Boys and Girls Club for more than a year, more than 2 years, to be honest. I always thought this is just going to be a little side job, a little bit of money. But little did this experience really kind of teach me just the impact and the connection that I had with kids. Just the impact that I kind of revealed to me, just a lot of potential. Just a lot of potential in myself for being able to lead workshops, being able to connect, being able to learn information better, and to kind of, it wanted me to kind of be better, work harder. It was never something that I thought like, oh yeah, I'm going to stick here. Like, I always thought it was just going to be something small. But as I got to those connections, as I started working with kids, as I started kind of seeing the impact and just seeing how we can help you out, that's what started making an impact or a change. It's just something for yourself. So what our assignment is, or what the homework is, I know, crazy, is that, to hopefully go through this vulnerability packet and to help kind of share it, or to help showcase it. At least the bare minimum, if you're still not at that level of vulnerability, if you're still finding your way with that case manager, is what are those 23 things that you want that person to know about you? What are those 23 things, if you're finding a new case manager, what are those 23 things you want that new case manager to understand from you? And then hopefully dive deeper into this vulnerability and to kind of be able to showcase and talk about that. The way I broke it down with those challenges, effects, feelings, is what it comes down to when it comes to your personal statements. What it comes down to with anything when you're writing for your common application to that personal statement is being able to talk about that experience, what it meant to you, what you kind of grew from it, and then what did it teach you? What did you gain from this experience? What was something that you needed? What was something that you felt? What was something that you grew? What is something that you learned? And to pass that on, join us, send it to a case manager, get that opportunity for those golden tickets. We're all really here to help you out. We're all really here to just, support you. You can either do this activity with your case manager to help you out with that. But we're here to support you. We want to really showcase who you are when it comes to your college applications, and just really showcase how amazing each and every one of you are, and just the stories that you come from. And we're just here to help. So, any questions? Comments, concerns, stressors? No? Alrighty. No stress, no stress. Then hopefully you guys are so sweet, honestly, in the chat. You guys are so sweet. Oh, I do have a question. What are the most common double majors? That's a great question. It's gonna depend on the student, but common double majors that you'll probably see is like the one I said for engineering, things that are just that kind of cross over two different areas, so mechanical and electrical. Material science and something else. A lot of the social science, you can do psychology and sociology. You could do behavioral psychology and abnormal psychology. You could do biology and chemistry, because a lot of those courses overlap. Harder or less common double majors would be something like, I'm going to do biomedical engineering and finger painting. Those are my two majors. That's not something you hear often. Or opera. Biomedical engineering and opera, voice. That's not something that you'll find often, because not many people kind of go those two routes. But usually common double majors are things like that. If you're thinking of double majoring, that's something that, something that's more so for you personally. Your application is not going to ask you for that. When you're applying to colleges, they just want to know your single major. That's the conversation that you're going to have with your counselor. But again, as long as you kind of know that in your mindset, we can help you out by showcasing, okay, these are your two curriculums. These are your two kind of textbooks that you're going to be going by. So these are the courses you need to make sure that you're tackling when it comes to signing up for classes. Because another thing when it comes to mind is that once you're in college, you're kind of by yourself, right? You have to go seek out the help. No one's walking around and saying like, hey, do you need help? Do you need help? You have to go and get it. No one's looking for it. The expectation is that you're going to come for it. So you have to make those appointments with your counselors, and just the biggest thing is that as long as you know that you're on the right path, it's going to help you out. It's going to make things a lot more golden. And if you want to become a dermatologist, biology, chemistry, again, dermatology, depending what part of dermatology you're trying to go into, if you're trying to be a physician's assistant, a nurse in dermatology, if you're trying to be a doctor of dermatology, it all kind of depends what you're kind of going to. If you're trying to go into nursing, go for nursing. If you're trying to just get better prepared so that you can become a doctor later in life or a physician's assistant, usually most often biology, chemistry, because those are going to have the classes that you're going to need to pass your entrance exam to become a dermatologist in medical school, medical professional. If that's not your vibe, you can do English, Spanish, but you still have to make sure that you're doing your chemistry, biology, organic chemistry, physics, calculus, all those classes so that you understand the material when it comes to take your exam. So it's a little bit more work on your end because, you have to take all those classes. As well as a lot of schools have a lot of support with specialized counselors for students interested in going into the medical field. Or maybe that's something you want to look for at a school to make sure that they have that type of support. Yeah. Any other questions? Oh my gosh, this one's the only one. Let's see. Oh, thank you. Oh, yeah. Just paint the picture, tell your story.